Everyone knew him as Kojak, but no one knew the man he was when no cameras were watching. Telly Savalas, the iconic bald-headed actor with the gravelly voice and a lollipop that became his trademark, was a man who commanded every room he entered. From gritty cops to deadly villains, he was a screen presence you couldn't ignore. But behind that tough exterior, few knew the man Telly really was, until he revealed something astonishing about the one person who touched his heart like no one else. Hey, if you're enjoying this trip down memory lane, don't forget to click subscribe. It's completely free, and this way you won't miss any of our next stories from the stars you grew up with. Telly Savalas wasn't born a Hollywood star. He was born Aristotle Telly Savalas in 1922, the son of hardworking Greek immigrant parents in Garden City, New York. Imagine growing up in a household where tradition wasn't just respected, it ruled every corner of life. Discipline, perseverance, and resilience weren't suggestions. They were survival tools. These early lessons didn't just shape a young boy. They built the backbone of a man who would later conquer Hollywood with his magnetic presence. But life didn't hand him success on a silver platter. Telly had to fight for every opportunity. Before he ever graced a movie screen or TV set, he served his country in World War II, standing shoulder to shoulder with men facing unimaginable challenges. That experience wasn't just a chapter in his life. It was a crucible that forged a quiet strength and a sense of purpose that would define him both on and off screen. Even after returning from the war, Telly wasn't done proving himself. He pursued higher education at Columbia University, studying psychology, a field that would later give him an unusual edge as an actor, allowing him to understand people, motivations, and the subtle dance of human emotion. All the while, he worked odd jobs to keep himself afloat, learning the grind, the hustle, and the value of never quitting. Every challenge, every struggle, and every small victory planted the seeds for a career that would be anything but ordinary. Telly's leap into acting didn't come easy. It came from persistence, timing, and a bit of luck. In 1959, he landed his first real acting role on Armstrong Circle Theater, a show that brought dramatized, real-life stories to the small screen. For many, it would have been just another job, but for Telly, it was a moment that changed everything. Even though the spotlight was small, his charisma was impossible to ignore. Audiences didn't just see him, they remembered him. From there, Telly carved his way through one guest role after another, appearing in some of the most popular and competitive television shows of the era: The Untouchables, The Fugitive, Bonanza, and The FBI. Each role taught him a new skill, pushed him to explore different characters, and honed a versatility that would become his trademark. He wasn't just learning lines, he was learning life. What made Telly fascinating wasn't just his talent, it was the intensity he brought to every performance. A villain in one episode, a conflicted hero in another, a man of humor or menace depending on the scene. He could command the screen even with limited time, making audiences lean forward, wondering what this enigmatic figure would do next. For viewers today, this might feel like the story of someone who made it, but for Telly, it was a calculated climb fueled by grit, charm, and an uncanny ability to make people care, even when he played the toughest, most intimidating characters imaginable. By the early 1960s, he wasn't just an actor, he was a force, quietly building momentum, a man who understood that success in Hollywood required more than talent. It demanded persistence, intelligence, and a magnetic presence that made you impossible to forget. Telly Savalas didn't just act, he transformed himself. In 1965, he made a choice that would become legendary. He shaved his head completely to play Pontius Pilate in The Greatest Story Ever Told. This wasn't just a cosmetic decision, it was a declaration. A man willing to change his entire look for authenticity, to fully embody a character even when it might shock audiences or directors. That bald head became his signature, an unmistakable emblem of intensity, authority, and fearlessness. But Telly wasn't content with just one bold move. He pushed into films where he could explore the darker, grittier corners of human nature. Birdman of Alcatraz, The Dirty Dozen, Kelly's Heroes, on Her Majesty's Secret Service. He played villains, anti-heroes, and figures of power with a presence that was magnetic, intimidating, and unforgettable. He had a way of making audiences feel the weight of every glance, every word, every pause. Even in a supporting role, Telly didn't just act, he dominated the screen. What made him extraordinary wasn't just his commanding presence. It was his ability to make us feel empathy for the toughest characters. He brought humanity to men hardened by life, and menace to characters who might have otherwise been forgettable. Audiences didn't just watch him, they felt him long after the credits rolled. And with every film, Telly wasn't just building a resume, he was quietly creating a legend. Television, though, is where Telly Savalas truly became a household name. And nowhere was that more apparent than with Kojak in 1973. Detective Theo Kojak wasn't just another cop on the street. He was smooth, stylish, relentless, and impossible to ignore. The lollipop, the tailored suits, the unforgettable catchphrase, "Who loves you, baby?" all became cultural touchstones. But beneath the swagger and charm, there was grit, depth, and a realism that set the show apart from anything else on TV. Kojak wasn't just entertaining, it was groundbreaking. It tackled issues like drug abuse, corruption, and poverty with a boldness that few shows dared to approach. And Telly brought something rare to the role, a combination of charisma, intelligence, and a kind of streetwise vulnerability. He could deliver a line with deadly seriousness, then flip it with humor or charm, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats. Every episode was a masterclass in presence, tension, and subtle storytelling. It wasn't long before audiences everywhere were captivated. Emmy Awards, Golden Globes, fan letters piling in from around the world. It was clear that Telly wasn't just playing a character, he was redefining what it meant to be a TV star. And even after the series ended, the character lived on through television movies, merchandising, and cultural memory, cementing Telly's place as one of the most iconic figures in entertainment history. The magic of Kojak wasn't just the show itself, it was Telly Savalas. His presence had a pull that made viewers care, laugh, gasp, and sometimes even fear. It was television at its most compelling, driven by a man who understood not just how to act, but how to mesmerize. Behind every great performer is a life filled with complexities, and Telly's personal story was no exception. He married 3 times, navigating love, heartbreak, and the challenges of balancing family with a skyrocketing career. His first marriage, to Catherine Nicolaites, ended after nearly a decade, a reminder that even young love can face trials too big to overcome. His second marriage, to Marilyn Gardner, a talented theater teacher, brought him 2 children and a glimpse of family life amid Hollywood's chaos. Together they tried to balance ambition, creativity, and the demands of public life. But even with love, differences eventually pulled them apart. Yet these experiences weren't failures. They were lessons in resilience, empathy, and the pursuit of happiness, shaping Telly into a man who understood both the highs and lows of human connection. Finally, in 1984, he found a kind of stability with Julie Haviland, his third wife. Their union brought 2 more children and a sense of groundedness that had been elusive in his earlier years. Julie became more than a partner. She was a source of support, understanding, and mutual respect, helping Telly navigate the pressures of fame while keeping his family life intact. This chapter of his life wasn't just about marriage or fatherhood, it was about growth, emotional maturity, and the quiet victories of a life well lived. Through every heartbreak, triumph, and family milestone, Telly Savalas revealed a side of himself that few ever saw. Deeply human, endlessly resilient, and capable of profound love. His story reminds us that even the most formidable personalities carry within them layers of emotion, vulnerability, and connection that define who they truly are. Telly Savalas was more than Kojak, more than a villain on screen. He was a man shaped by resilience, love, and rare emotional connections that left a lasting impact. And for him, there was that one person, Stefanie Powers, who reminded us that even the strongest hearts can be touched deeply and irreversibly. In the end, it's not the roles we play, but the people who truly see us that define a life